Okay, so I've done a lot of work off camera. This is the whole lower guide block, and it just came out really nice. And then, so what I haven't done yet, well, I did do the plate here, right? But what I haven't done is the rest of this yet, because what I need to see is what parts of this get replaced by the new guide system I'm buying. So it's ordered and on its way. Be here in a couple days, probably. These came out really pretty. All the knurling is still pretty sharp, and they all cleaned up real nice. There's both of them here. They came out nice, and I'm going to just pick this whole thing up and show you, because the lamp came out really cool. This is, I think it's aluminum, but it came out kind of a brushed aluminum color, and you can see the black wire here. It's all been rewired. All of the these metal pieces here came out real nice and clean. Look really great. And they, I left myself a couple of feet of wire coming out of the back end of this, and that'll get wired to a box on the stand. The other thing I did with this, you see the orange? I put the new tires on, just because it was kind of the next thing to do to this. So the top is pretty much all done here. Let me go put it down. However, did find a complication. So this is the riser block, and here's the complication. The pins aren't in the right locations, as are the holes on the bottom are not in the right locations. She says, oh, that's how I know this is bottom. So the holes need to be further out toward the corners, and these holes and these pins are 6mm, and what's on the saw is 1/4 inch. So I'm going to enlist my brother Kerry's help, and we're gonna work on that probably on Saturday. Tonight's excuse me, tonight's Thursday night, so a couple days to get ready for that. And I'll take the riser block with me, and I'll take the whole saw, so that we can make sure, and the whole rest of the riser block kit, so we can actually get it together and make sure it all fits. That shouldn't be too bad. It's a couple of holes and a couple of 1/4 inch dowels. This top here is pretty thick, so the pin can go partway down here. This is a blind hole; it doesn't go all the way through. The bottom holes do go all the way through. So drill a couple of holes, drill a couple of through holes, drill a couple of stopped holes, and put 2 pins in. You just got to make sure we get them in exactly the right place, because what you don't want is the saw to be off kilter, right? So you got to make sure that you don't torque it. This way is probably no big deal, right? Left and right is not a good thing, but man, if you torqued it like that, that would be really bad. So that all needs to get done right, and he's got a milling machine, so we can make sure it's all very precise. I also put the tire on the new lower wheel. Oh, one other thing. Here, let me move the camera. All right, so here you can see I got the tire on. These are always a bit of a pain, but it's just a nuisance to try and stretch them on. But I fixed the pulley. So when I was trying to get this pulley off, I had loosened this nut, which came out pretty good. It came out pretty easy. And then I was trying to move this from behind, actually just using a 2x4 and slowly trying to work it out. But what I could see is I could see the wheel flexing. So what I did was I found the high spot, which was out here, and I used my rubber mallet and I hit it in here gently, and over a period of about 15 minutes, I don't know if you can see, but there's effectively no run out here at all. This is so nice and straight now. I can't even I can't even tell. So I don't have to replace that. That's good. So the next thing to do is really actually figure out the mounting on the base. While I'm waiting for the guide system to come in, I need to figure out how to mount the saw on the top of the base, but I also need to figure out how to mount the motor on the base so that I can tension it. And I need to double check the, well, I need to fire the motor up. I guess I need to, the wiring on it's terrible. I need to rewire the motor and make sure it runs. I don't actually know that, I haven't tried to make it run. I don't know that it runs. I'm assuming it does. And get the motor to run, so I have to know which way the motor runs, right? And then I also have to then measure the pulleys. Turns out you want the saw, just looked around on the internet, you want the saw to run, the drive wheel to run, you know, the lower drive wheel to run it at about 900 RPM. The motor's a 1750, right? So that's about 50%. So if you have I'm going to pick a random number. If you have a 10-inch wheel on your saw, you want a 5-inch pulley wheel on your motor. And then you run it down by half because its circumference to diameter is linearly proportional. So pi times diameter. So I need to figure out what diameter that is, and the motor actually has 2 pulleys on it, one on each side, and I don't know which one I need. So I need to figure out which way the motor runs. It may actually say on the housing. I haven't looked, and then make sure I get it mounted properly. I'm going to put I'm just going to put a hinged plate on the bottom, mount the motor to the hinged plate, and then the pulley can just hold that tension. I can make, because I have a link belt, I can make it any length I want. So I can just make it, you know, if it needs a little more tension, or if I need the belt to be a little bit shorter, I can just make it shorter, which is really nice. All right, so let's take a look at this base. So here's a good look at the label on the motor. Notice it has both 120 and 220 wiring, which is nice. It's a 1 horsepower. It's an old Delta actually, so matches the saw. Which of course that's the color the saw ought to actually be, that nice gray. The wiring, as you can see, is not horrible, but not great either. So we're going to rewire it for 120. I do have 220 here in the garage, and I'll have 220 in the new shop. But it's a little bit of a hassle. And if I'm going to permanently install this somewhere, I will make it 220 just because you get a little more torque out of it. But I don't really need to do that right now. So as evidenced by the plug and the way that it's wired, according to the wiring diagram, it's 120. So what I don't understand, I'll have to figure out, is how this switch actually works. But it looks like, you know, per this one side, the yellow and black should be wired together, which is here, and the red and green should be wired together, which is here. So I just need to do the same thing. I'm going to move the switch down to a box down here, maybe back here. I haven't exactly decided where I'm going to wire it, but I'm going to permanently wire that to here. The motor is going to sit underneath, of course, and wire that in through the back and put the switch on the front. Now, the switch I have is, this is a 13 amp motor at 120, 6 amps at 220, so it'd be a lot less current draw on each circuit. But 13 amps is a 15 amp switch, so I should be good to go. But I need to make sure that the way this is wired and the way this is wired, because this is going to only interrupt one pole, and I need to see whether or not this interrupts both. So I have the meter set to resistance. Now you can see it, but it says 0.6. And the nice thing is if I turn it, it induces a voltage, and then it goes back to 0.6, 0.6, 0.5. What that tells me is this motor's good, because it's generating a voltage when I turn it, and then it stops generating a voltage, but the impedance never goes to open. This motor's probably good to go. So the next question is the pulley size. Now the pulley on the bandsaw drive pulley is 8 inches. So what I need here is something that's 4. This one's 5. This one's even bigger. This one's like 7. So the question is, do I have a 4-inch somewhere with the correct diameter keyed shaft? Let me hunt around the shop and see what I got. There we go. Cool. Well, I did eventually get both wheels off, pulleys off. I'm not going to show you taking off the second one. It's highly embarrassing. And I destroyed it in the process. But I don't need it. Never mind. Okay, wiring night. So I had a roll of 16 gauge, and I decided I could run it on 16, but only barely. So I'm going with a roll of 14. This gives me 25 feet, and that way we can have a fairly long cord that goes to this and also go to other stuff. So then here's my wiring plan. Power. This is a nice plug. It's rotatable, so you can set it at different angles. Depending on what your use case is, probably just be like this, or maybe 180 out of this. Power in, long cord, probably most of what I have left after I do all the other wiring. I'm going to wire nut it together in here, inside this box. The switch will turn the light on, and I'll have a separate socket just so that I have a courtesy plug here. They get this control. I don't really need, these boxes are like, hermetically sealed, weather mounts and stuff. I don't really need these to be waterproof, but I do want them to be dust proof. Okay, so I'm just going to seal them up. That way I have power and lights, and then the power will come, so the power will come in the bottom and out the back, lights out the top. Out the back is going to go to the other box. Kind of split off in here and go out to the other box. The other box has got a new 20 amp double pole switch, on off. Make sure I get those right. And yeah, I bought this, and then I bought that, which is the wrong thing, but I'm going to use it for the moment until I get a bigger one. I don't know why we ended up with a skinny one like that. That's kind of goofy, but I need the right plate for that, but for the moment that'll be okay. That'll run the motor, so it'll come in the back, and top will be plugged and go out the bottom of the motor. So these things come with plugs, and then I'm going to use these connections for the wires. These are nice because they seal. Can I zoom in on that? Yeah, there you go. These seal, and this wire will fit through that, and they screw right in to these things here. So so cue the wiring montage. With this tamper-proof plug, it's a pain. Can't do things very easily with it. All right, let's double check the grounds first. Ground is good. Okay. Ground here. Ground is good. Okay. Hey, get off my. All right. Let's check to here. Right. Yes. No. Yes. That's good. Yes. No. Yes. Let's check here to here. Yes. Here to there. No. One. What am I missing? I'm doing something really stupid, but I don't know what it is. I'll be back. Double check this. Make sure there's nothing dumb here. And you can see that 0.6 ohms, which is what I measured directly on the motor. So, and if I turn it off, it goes to open. Yep. Turn it off, it goes to open. Switched off, it goes to open right here. So, I should be good to plug this in and try the motor, because I've never actually tried it. Now you guys saw I put a C-clamp back here so that the motor won't try and run away on me. Switch is off. I'm only going to do this just long enough to turn it on and turn it back off. I got to find a usable plug. I'm not going to run it very long. So number one, that doesn't do anything. Number two, yes! Ah! Wow! Holy crap, does that run good? I'm super psyched! Yeah! Woo! Man, Oh, so much momentum. Oh yeah. Oh yeah, babe. All right, let's plug that and plug that. Plug the camera back in. Here we go. All right, motor's unplugged. That was kind of a temporary setup, kind of, I think. Maybe it's not. I don't know. These need to get mounted underneath here, so that I have a switch right here at my hand. One to turn the this one to turn the lights on and off. Soon as I can figure out why the hell it didn't do what it's doing now, and that one to run the motor. So awesome. All right. I was being silly about this switch. This switch switches this way, not this way. I got it. So I need to make a plate to go on here. I got this metal plate, but of course it's not the right size, and the screws that came with the plate, they don't match these screw. These are threaded, but these don't match. But what I did was I took the little screws and the piece of paper that came with it, and I punched the screws through here. You can see my little template here. Punched the screw through here, and then ran my finger around the outline. So I don't know if you can see that in the video, but I have an outline of the, get that in frame without a lot of shadow. There we go. You can see it's outline or not, but you can see the holes I punched in it. So I'm going to transfer those with a punch to this metal plate, and find some screws, match these holes, and get that covered up. All right, let's run the drill press table up here. All right. Here's the template. I need the punch again. Now, make sure that I really have this lined up. Making sure I didn't do that across angles. This is fine. I'm going to get one of the screws. I put the drill index on top of. Here we go. Screw through the hole, screw through the hair. Okay, that allows me to line that up. I can run it around. You can see the screw will run around the hole. We'll do that until it and I gotta find some screws that match those holes. Alright, I'm going to hunt through an old bucket of screws here. These are all the machine screws I have. I have several of these that are sheet metal and wood screws, but I don't have a lot of machine screws. Well, that fits, but he's definitely too long. Aha! There's another one of them. Beautiful. I knew I'd keep this crap around for a reason. Excellent. I'm getting silly. The screwdriver's right here. So to mount these boxes, you put these little tabs on them like this, and basically just jam the screws and holes. Now I'm going to put them on the top, and then run a piece of wood behind them and screw the piece of like a 2x and then screw into it through the top of the table. But to do that, just put these guys on here like this. Make sure they're positioned where you want them. Like that. All right. Yeah. Okay, so this stand was not original to the saw. It looks like it is a Delta product just because of the color it was painted and the fact that it did have a Delta motor mounted on it, but it's really not meant for this bandsaw. And one of the things is, I don't know what this chute was for, this sheet metal chute that's here, but that is coming out. I have no need for it. Been on there a while, but gone now. So I set the base of the bottom half of the bandsaw up here, and now I have to think about, I've kind of got this deconstructed, I know which way the motor turns, I know the motor runs. I have to decide how I actually want to use this stand, right? And it's got all these kind of random holes and random cutouts in it. And I think I don't want those. I think what I'm going to do is root around here in the shop and find, I think I have a piece of like, heavy lamb, like a 1-inch piece of plywood that I've had kicking around for a long time. It's right over there. And I'm actually going to cut a top for this. Still, when I go to mount this, I'll drill through that board, through the metal, and bolt it together, right? So it'll still be held. And I'm also going to have to make a cutout for the belt. So the belt's going to have a slot cut so that it can go through here and through the, if I have the wood in here as well, it's going to go through the wood. So that'll clean this whole top up. So yeah, next step is to make a top for this, kind of figure out where I want to get things situated, and figure out how the motor's going to mount underneath and provide tension on the belt. Quick unboxing video. I got the guides from Carter that came in like 2 days. I say quick because I'm going over to my brother Carrie's to get him to help me with modifying the riser block itself. Man, is that gorgeous. Holy cow. Nice job, guys. That's the lower. Oh, interesting. That nut's captive in there. They welded it. That's nice. This is going to be the upper guides. Nice. And zoom in a little bit. All right. Really super nice. This is a guard. This is the heavy one. Actually, the new, it's the new shaft. It's the upright shaft. They've given me the shaft. Can I say that? I don't know. Super nice machined piece of steel here. Very nice. Okay, that was real quick. We'll add that to the video, and then I'm taking the camera with me to zoom out. I'm taking the camera with me to Carrie's so that we can film the machining process of fitting that block to the upper and lower part of the saw. All right, I'll see you in a few. Hey, man.
The other one off is easy.
All right, so we're pulling the pins out of the upper block here. Got one of them out. Sorry, we're pulling the pins out of the riser block, not out of the saw.
With precision tools.
Lots and lots of rotate.
Yeah. I think this is a slower rotation than the other machine.
Yeah, that definitely needs a servo on it.
Well, you can probably cheat on the bottom by sitting it on there, tapping the top, and it should mark your pins. Right?
Let's try it. Right. All right. What do we think? Right there for the first one? I guess.
You have to kind of take it out.
And that's cast, so it's a little bit soft. So.
Yeah.
Has been run back and forth in a while.
Right.
So this is a 1940s Gorton, is that what you said?
Yeah.
Oh, all right, that's disengaged. Yeah, it is working. Okay. Double check, make sure I'm not wrong there.
Pretty good, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's definitely cast. No oil? Not cast. No oil, it's going right through it like it wasn't even there.
Yeah. All right, so we measured that, and it's 4, 4, 5, 435.
So you want a 1/4 inch pin to put in there, and then you want to measure off of that, right?
Yeah. Did that hole go all the way through?
Yeah.
But there's actually a chamfer back here.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's got a little
Run out of it.
Yeah, but that could be this one.
Here.
Because the cast probably drill a little bit over. Yeah, that's undersized.
Okay.
So these, how close are these?
Those are 250, man. It won't really matter.
No,
Once it's screwed down.
Right. Let me, is it gonna get out of our way or not? Yeah, okay, so you can measure. Although it's off on an angle, but still that'll be close.
Right. 4350.
And it's this way.
Yeah.
It's pretty, I mean, you can see it. Does it look like, yeah, that's pretty, that mark is pretty good,
Yeah.
you know?
Uh-huh.
So what do you think? You want to just use that mark?
Probably all right. it won't stay.
Is that what you wanted to do?
Yeah,
And then I can put it like that. You want to check
Slipped. Right, come this way a little bit. Yeah.
You're bending the drill bit now, so.
Right. There. That's it.
It's good?
Yep. That's going to be within 1,000th.
Yeah. Find out. Don't tap it down.
Right. Right. If you tapped it down, you wouldn't get it out. But it's, yeah, it just sat on there. Sat on there perfect. All right.
And we're doing the same thing on the other side, right?
Right. These need to be a stop hole. Because you can put a pin in them.
Right. Okay.
But yeah, effectively.
And we kind of transfer it the same way, right?
No, we can't because it's 90 degrees out. It's on the opposite corners. Right. So that's going to be this same corner.
But is it?
Huh?
I don't know what it is. No, it has to be the same.
It has to be the same corner.
Oh, right.
So it's going to be that corner, but you can't do that.
Yeah.
Right.
So we guess one and then we measure.
Yeah.
Okay.
Which will make it infinitesimally out.
Right,
It doesn't make any
right.
difference. It just that distance needs to be the same. So as long as we do that, we're fine. Yeah.
And you have the top here?
Yes. Right over there. It's on the pallet, Jack. Actually, we just drill it right here, can't we? If I re-reference.
How come these are? Well, so we gotta drill here and here.
Oh yeah. Right.
Right.
Yeah. But turn it over. But we only have to move it.
Yeah, it's the other side of the
Right.
Yeah.
So then, if we do this,
Well, here, do the.
if we do it this way, right? Then we're at exactly the same Y, and we just need to move the X over here, right? Just roll that.
Yeah.
Roll here.
Okay.
That way we're already referenced to the same
Right,
here, and then we can
right.
measure the same distance out from there.
Well, we're pretty far back compared to the existing hole that's there. Let me look. Oh, we're pretty far back there too.
Yeah.
Right, but we know it fits.
Yeah. Yeah. So this is roughly 30.7 off the end. Doesn't really matter, but it might as well be close, right? 0.7 is.
And you want the side of it.
Yeah, that's so close, it doesn't matter.
Okay, so there.
That's good. You need to. Oh, we need to start it, or it won't matter.
I just have to go real light to start in the gas station. More or less? A little bit more?
That was fine.
Huh?
That was fine.
Okay.
It kind of doesn't matter. Because the other's a through hole. The top's got a through hole in it,
Right.
so the height of the pin kind of doesn't make a difference.
Okay. So then we need to crank.
Out this way.
Right. And then whatever that measurement was that we needed to figure out.
4.350. Closer so they don't have to keep figuring. Where's that pin? Damn, son.
Pretty good, huh?
Yeah, it needs this table needs to go that way. I'm wrong direction. No more? No more? Little fraction more. We'll bend in the drill bit. We're using drill bit as a dial indicator. There we go. That's, yep, right there. That's good. I could have done this on my drill press, but
Yeah,
but
here we are.
this is the right answer. Cool. All right, let's see if she fits. So it turns out one of the pins, this pair of pins is a little bit too far apart, and we got to mill into this just a fraction.
You want to check the other side while we're at it?
Turns out the pins have to be pretty short because both sets of holes are stopped holes. Carrie's got these big belt grinders. I'm just going to use that and just run it by hand just to take the edge off of the cut. And if you're wondering what on earth does he use these for, and there are 8 of them in here, then the answer is he runs Baltimore Knife and Sword, and go check the Baltimore Knife and Sword channel, or the Awe Me channel for Man at Arms Reforged. And actually the new video they put out on March, I think 25th, this is 2021, showed one of their guys, Tanner, doing a bunch of work in here, and this is the first, just getting this rebuilt. Yep, there we go. I don't need them super good, just need them done. All right, the pins go here and here. That one's going to be too short. That one's fine, the other one's too short.
It's too short.
Yeah, because I think the hole's drilled deeper than the other one.
Yeah.
Barely sticks out. I don't know. What do you think?
Well, you can always put a little something behind it.
Yeah, or just go
But
cut along
it
one.
shouldn't really matter once you bolt it down. It's about rotation.
Yeah, it's all about the rotation. It's just. Is this out? Come on. Ah! This one works up. This one doesn't. Got a magnet? It just went all the way flush. You can't grab it.
Oh, and it's
It's a blind hole.
huh?
And it's a blind hole.
Yeah.
Got a magnet picker upper, and do you know where it is?
Here, yeah, right here. I was like, I just put 4 magnets somewhere in the room. Here they are, right here. not super powerful. Though.
It should be.
Powerful.
It's just slid in by hand. I mean,
Yeah, there you go.
that means that one's definitely too short.
Yeah.
Which is funny because that hole works better, is okay, but that's definitely going to be too short. All right, we'll go cut another one.
Well, you get that other one, you can just cut.
All right, new 4-inch pulley wheel. Here's the key. So I'm gonna put it about halfway on. This side, thought I marked it. Yeah, it spins this way. Okay, so it's actually going to go on the far side of the table, and the saw needs to go this direction. All right. So this is spinning this way, and this is spinning this way, and they'll be on the same side. So this is the correct side for the pulley. All right, new pulley in. All right, so the platform is 30 by 16. I'm going to cut this piece of plywood 16 and a half and then flip it over, and this side's not completely straight, so I'll do 2 cuts, one at 16 and a half here, one at 16 here, and then we can cut it 30 long here in a minute. Two key lessons for table saws. Never stand behind the work and never touch the table saw until the blade has come to a complete stop. This finger's got a little bit shaved off of it. Pay attention to what you're doing. I lost that tip of that finger on this saw. It's not that I stopped doing the work. I started paying a little more attention. Yeah, I should have had a blade guard on here. Nice wide piece of wood like this, not too worried about it. All right, just got to cut 30 long. It's all in pretty good shape. We're going to cut this end off. This. This cut length isn't hypercritical, so I'm just going to eyeball it. If I'm within 1/8 of an inch, I don't care. But in reality, it's going to be fine. Be a lot closer than that. Now, when I make this cut, I'll have this hand on the guide, and this hand over here. And as soon as the cut is done, as soon as the blade's all the way through, I'll pull this piece of wood this way so that it doesn't get caught on the blade. I'll pull this piece of wood this way so it doesn't get caught on the blade, and then I'll turn the saw blade off. That way I know that the pieces are completely separate from the blade. Don't make a move with the wood until the saw comes to a complete stop. All right. That's the upper side. This isn't the same piece of wood I said I was going to use, but. All right, good fit. I'm going going to knock the corners off of this with a block plane so that it's not rough on the hands. But I'm not going to paint it, I don't think, because then I'd have to wait for the paint to dry, and right now I've got all the parts of this saw and I want to run it. I'd be better off sanding these corners so they don't crack out on me. I'm going to do that too, as a matter of fact. What am I going to use here? This sanding block setup is called Best Blocks for Demanding Sanding by Next Level Carpentry. Highly recommended channel. The dude is a genius, super type A about his work. And has some just great ideas for the way to use jigs and things. He's a professional, remodeler and carpenter. So the idea is that you make this block. This is cut at an angle, and it wedges in here. And these are just belts for belt sander, regular belt sander. He makes his thinner. I have really big hands, so I actually made mine a little bit thick and cut some grooves in here so I can grab it and my fingers will hit the edge of the groove. These work really great. And sanding belts are really tough. He actually mounts different grits on his and keeps the blocks, because he's doing production work, so he's keeping the blocks on his, the belts on his, and makes multiple blocks. I only got one of them, so I just change out whatever belt I'm using, but they change out real quick. And as you can see, that's great. My hands don't get cramped trying to hold some little thing or whatever. That works better on a block plane. I hit all the rough edges. This is 80 grit paper too, so. It'll knock the plywood down pretty fast. I probably should just grab the belt sander and do this, but that's fine. That's all I really need it to be. Good to go. Alright, I'm just going to clamp this in place so I know where it goes. And I'm going to use some of the existing holes and some 3/4 screws to just screw this to the base. It'll be plenty well secured once I bolt the bandsaw down. But this will give me a nice base to work on. I don't have to worry about it moving around much. Let's see, where are we? That's good. I'm just finding existing holes in this metal base and putting some screws through it. I'm not trying to do anything super fancy. Here's one here. So now I've come to the point where I have to think about how I want to use this on this stand. This plywood's great. It's a good height. It's a good working height because I'm tall. I'm 6'4", so this actually works pretty good. I guess I could actually sit this up here, at least momentarily, to get an idea of just how high it really is. I don't know if I can fit it here. Well, if I just sit it here, that's about how high it is. It's about that high. So it's a little high, really.
yeah, it'll be a little lower than that, but that's about it. For anybody else, that would be pretty high. For me, actually, that's pretty good. The bandsaw stand is high. It's going to be great. Obviously, I got to clean this up yet. And the way it's currently mounted, you can't get a blade in here. I don't know why they did that. There's just some cheap screws. Yeah, it's just some cheap screws in these wood extensions. The extension bar is nice. The way I got it mounted is non-functional. So. Alright, so I like the height, which is good because I've gone to all this trouble to build this base, make this base work. So the one thing I noticed is there's a front spindle on this motor. It sticks out really far. So one of the things I know that I want to do is I want to push the saw as far back as I can so that that spindle's not sticking out of this, out of underneath of the base. So this is about as far back as I can get it. If I drop a line here, I'm inside the wood by about 1 inch in the back, and there's of course this flange just like this around the back. So I have to have the saw or the belt come through here and through the table, and I'll have to drill through both of those in order to make the the belt go through. Fortunately, I don't have to drill an entire slot. If I was using one continuous belt, I would have to have a whole slot, because otherwise I couldn't get the belt in. But I'm using a link belt. So I can take it apart, thread it through the 2 individual holes, and put it back together. That makes my life a whole lot easier, because I've only got to drill about, I don't know, maybe even ½ an inch. I'll have to measure how big this is, and I want some, of course, some extra space there, but that's not bad. Drilling a slot through this would be a real pain in the neck, but I think I can keep it a lot simpler than that. Well, so let me slide this motor back. Got a couple things sitting under here as a riser block. The bolt for the riser block, and a couple of pieces of electronics. Alright, so that means that the spindles need to line up. Well, that's about it. And this will need to be about the right distance from the back. So down here what I'll need to do is I'll need to drill for this for the saw, but they're going to need to be slots. They're going to need to be probably 2 inches long. Well, so what you do is you fit that link belt to approximately the right length, and then you slide on a sliding, slot. You slide this motor in order to make it tight. So it doesn't have to be perfectly in line. In fact, it won't be when you're done because you're going to slide it off a little bit. But that means that I need to think about where the holes need to go for the belt, and they need to be a little bit wide actually, because the wheel up here is 5 and the wheel down here is, I'm sorry, this is 8 and this is 4. The pulleys. So they're not going to be straight down. They're actually going to be in. They're going to come in a little bit because it's narrower down the bottom. A little bit of a trapezoid there. So you need to think about that. But that's about it. And then is that about lined up? That's a little far in. It's more like about right there where it'll really end up. Yeah, that's about right. So that's good because now the spindle doesn't really stick out. So I like that. I'm going to put it on this end because I'm right-handed and I tend to put things, I can put pieces down here I'm working on and pick them up and work on them and put them back down. So that's nice. Also, this table is so heavy and so long, this will have a cantilever a little bit, although this thing's so heavy I could probably stick it all the way out on the edge. It would never make any difference, especially with the motor down there. It's never going to move. I can barely pick the motor up. I can barely pick up each half of the saw. Them together is probably, I don't know, over 150 pounds. So there's no way it's going anywhere. All right, just for symmetry, I measured using slide combination square, 2 3/4 off of both this edge and the back. So the base is currently sitting square on the thing, and it's nice and even in the corner, which, hey, went as well, right? I don't have bolts to hold it down, so I had to go scrounge around and found some 3/8 16 nice bolts, 2.5 inches long. They'll fit just right. I have a box of nuts, and should be able to find some old washers in the old jar there. However, threads need to be cleaned out, and then the holes are just like a little bit too small. They must be like 5/16. They're not quite, these 3/8 bolts won't quite through the holes that are in the feet, so I'm just going to bore them out a little bit with a 1/64 up, 25/64, I think. Yeah. So that'll give me just a slight bit of clearance. Find some washers, and we'll get on with it. Nice little pile of washers here, and bushings with a lot of brass and copper in here. It looks really steampunk. Unfortunately, I only found one washer that even fit these bolts, so I may have to acquire some. Alright, here's the next complication. I need to drill these out, but I can't get that in here with the wheel on, and I really do not want to take this wheel off. So I've got to figure out drilling them out to make them fit the 3/8 bolts is no problem. Fitting the 3/8 bolts in here is no problem, but I do need to drill exactly into the table where they are. So I'm going to have to find like a skinny something to mark that with, and then drill them all separately and then put it all together. Alright, I just used a screw and went through the holes and tapped a little point mark right here. I'm going to use a brad point bit in the wood to get it started so that it doesn't wander. The other one is right here. Yep. Alright, just until the point hits the middle. I'm going to install it. Okay. I'll finish that out. 3/8 bit here. Twist drill, I can go in the middle with it. Grabs that sheet metal. That one obviously didn't hit any metal. That's okay. The other 3 however, so as long as that one's on that as well, we're good. Now, on the one where I did go through the metal's going to be sharp underneath, so if I take the biggest bit I have and basically just use it from underneath to clean up the where the shrapnel is. Pokey bits are kind of sticking out. Yep. Yep, easy deburring tool. There we go. There we go. All right, so I got some big washers to put underneath. All right, they're just finger tight for the moment. Yeah. All right, so using a square, and positioning this square right in the middle of the pulley. I've labeled right straight down from where this should be on both sides of the pulley. Now I removed the lower port of the bandsaw so that I could drill some holes. Now these holes really need to be on the order of 1.5 inches. Kind of minimum. But for the moment, just so I can line up the motor underneath, I want to drill these holes, and then I can run a line straight down from here and measure where the motor needs to go. I tried measuring in from the edge and then transferring that to the bottom. The only problem is when I look at these legs, they actually flare out a little bit at the bottom. So it's wider at the bottom than it is at the top, so I really can't do that with any accuracy. So I'm going to drill pilot holes effectively here. I'm going to drill with a small, slightly over 1/4, and then I'll ream it out with the largest thing I have, which is not quite a half. I don't know why there's not a 1/2 inch bit in that drill index, but it was something I inherited. These aren't super precise. Like I said, I'm going to make 1.5 inch hole. I just don't have, I currently don't have a step drill that big. That's really the right tool to use. So I'm going to get a bigger step drill than that. Looks pretty good. It needs to come in. I'm just sighting down the hole by eye, and I can see that needs to come in just a little bit. What I have, I know what I'll do. By hanging that down there, there we go. By hanging that down there, I can see that that motor needs to be pulled toward the front by about 1/2 inch. Alright, so it's 11 o'clock Saturday night. I think I'm calling it quits for the night. I'm really close to having this running. I need a step drill that has an 1.25 inches, probably 1.25 inches is fine, diameter step drill. And I need some metal cutting blades for my jigsaw so that I can drill 2 holes where the slots need to go so that the motor can slide back and forth this direction and tighten against the belt, which means that I'm going to have a little bit of a slot for the belt up here. As long as that hole is wide and long on the direction that the thing needs to slide. It doesn't need to go very far once I get it on there. In fact, I can even put it on and then kind of bolt the motor down and then slide it. So I should be able to get it snug without a lot of throw necessary in the motor mount. But I'll need metal cutting blades for my jigsaw. So I'm gonna pick those up tomorrow. But I'm gonna call this done tonight and make this the end of episode 3. Yeah, make this the end of episode 3. So thanks for following along. Those of you who've watched this far, you're awesome. And stay tuned for the finish, which I'll start on tomorrow. This is going to be a few days editing. Tomorrow's Palm Sunday in 2021. I probably won't get this out for a couple of days. I did a little bit better job, I think, at shooting this episode in terms of thinking about how I was going to edit it after the fact. Episode 2 took me, I know it's 45 minutes, but I started with like 3 hours of material, and it took me probably 6 or 8 hours to edit. So I don't want to take that long in editing. You guys will never get the end of this story. All right. Thanks a lot. Please subscribe. I really appreciate it. And everybody take care. Thanks.